again. I hope you're ready for lesson number 3. We left off on our 1920s postcard project just sewing some trim on. We just barely got it on. So here's where we left off. Our fabric background is all done. Our fabric print is in place. And we've just sewn on these 2 nice pieces of French ribbon trim. What we're going to do next is, and I'll just slide this in so you can see it, we're going to add a few more elements to the piece. And it'll be a bow and some lace leaves and a little bit of trim. And on this trim, I'm going to show you just a little bit of beading. See if we can get a few seed beads put on there for you so you can see how easy that is and how nicely it enhances a project. So the first thing, let's just look here. We've got our project nicely framed here and here, and I think it would be good to have something here. So that's why I'm proposing this bow. Now normally you just tie a regular shoelace bow. For those maybe not quite familiar, I'll disappear for about 2 seconds. All right, I've got a nice piece of ribbon here, and just to tie that shoelace bow, just make a little loop, turn it around, and shove the other little end of the loop through the little knot. Now whether you make your tails long or short, it doesn't really matter, even if they're not even. Just keep pulling your bow, shorten it, pull it, tweak it. Now you can have your bow and set it just like this, and that makes a nice frame. We were talking a little bit before about framing it out. I think that looks okay, but I think it would be nicer if we did something in the ribbon. And I've got a ribbon here that has tails that are a little bit more even. If I tie just a little knot in this ribbon, I think it starts to give the ribbon some character. So just a little knot there, and one somewhere near the end, not right near the end, because at the finish of the whole project we're going to clip these little tails into some points. So you'll do all 2 of the tails. Now see the difference it makes? Just a little bit more character, and you can wiggle it a little bit, you can twist it just a little bit, and now it becomes just a little bit more interesting than just a plain piece of ribbon. So you would go on and do that. Let me just show you how the final effect of that looks on this piece that I've already done. You can see the knots here, and whether you twist or not is entirely up to you. These bits here, the loops, yes, they stick out of the fabric piece. That's quite all right because they're sewn way down in. Sometimes I like to just smoosh those around a little bit, or maybe even do this to it, and then just tack it down with a seed bead, and you just get a nice little messy bit, which I think looks rather cool. Whatever you want to do there is fine. So the next thing that would go on to your project would be these little lace leaves. I've got a couple here, and I want you to see the difference of these. Do you notice that one is whiter than the other? This is how they come from the manufacturer, but this is how they look after you've had a cup of tea and dunked your lace pieces in there. Doesn't have to be for a long time, but do rinse it out. So I've chosen to use these cream pieces, and one of them will just get tucked in under the bow and go just almost into the frame of the image area of our picture. The other one I'm going to put this way. And you'll notice that now the cream is starting to be linked in the design. We've got cream here, and here, 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 and here. So our eye can move around the piece, and that makes for a good design. This also is a little bit reminiscent. It's fall time, autumn, so a little bit of the leaves falling down. I think it looks rather attractive. So how would you sew those on? Just like I did on this piece here, I just got my needle and thread, and I stabbed through, anchored, and see how I carried my thread through? There's the next stitch on the leaf, go back down, carry it through to the point, come back up, back to the bottom and tie it off or sew it off with 3 back stitches. Now you can come in later and put seed beads all in here, little gold ones or little green ones, and that will jazz up that lace leaf just a little bit. So the next thing that goes on the project is this very pretty trim. I really like this. It comes in different colors and it comes in different patterns. Some of the other patterns have a loop on this side as well. We're just using this particular single loop today. And what I like to do, and I'm just going to move these because that's all right to move that. And I've decided to put this trim under the fabric image. So I'm just going to scoot it under there, and then I will pin it. Now it doesn't matter if you have the loops going this way or the loops going that way. You can see I've got them going down there, they're going up here. Doesn't matter. You can have this side match. But to give the idea of it being a continuous loop, you see how I had 2 pieces? It was a 9-inch piece of trim, and all I did was cut it into 2 equal pieces and just use it wherever I have it. So in this instance, I will anchor that with some thread. I'll bring that around to cover this part of the print, and as I take stitches to sew this in, that's what's going to further hold on the fabric print. So then I'll just I'll just sew this around so it looks somewhat like that. Okay, I'm going to move to the sample that is mostly finished here, and I wanted to show you how you would put some seed beads on. Now, I love to use them, and in this particular sample, I think gold suffices. Now, you're probably wondering what this thing is. That is, it's kind of like those foam blankets that you can buy. This is actually a beading pad, but the foamy blankets work just as well. So to do some beading, you can sew this on just with your regular sewing stitches, and I will just start this one right here, and you can see I've pinned this in place so I know how and where my shape is to be. So I've got the first one on, and I'm going to come through to this side right here. Make sure I've grabbed it, and I'm going to go back. But you notice I didn't put a seed bead on just yet. One other thing while we're right in this area, right here, this trim, and I'll get a piece from here, it can fray on you. It'll fray. I glued the edges so it doesn't fray. So just a little bit of your tacky glue when you're doing your image would be wonderful just to tack that on. So to put a seed bead on, remember you want to avoid this seam right here. Just come in from the back, come up with your needle, grab your seed bead, so it's on your needle, and go down right beside where you came up. So now you're on the back again. I'll take that pin out. I don't need it anymore. And there's the first bead on. Let's do a couple more of those. And I'll skip about a 1/4 inch on this piece, and that will be plenty. So now I'm on the top with my thread, got my needle, got my seed bead, and I'm going down right beside where I came up. And you can see you're carrying your stitch. So I'm going to come right here, like this, and we'll do 1 or 2 more. And we'll just go straight down again. And I think you get the idea for that. So you can see we have 3 seed beads on, 1, 2, 3. And you can see I've carried the threads across. Just keep going in this manner, up and down all the way along this piece of trim. Once you get to the end, just go to the back and anchor off with your back stitches. Then you'll come back in on this side and do the same thing, going around the shape. So once that's on, and I'll just show you a little piece right here. I've got the finished piece, and you can see how nice the seed beads look when they're all on. It gives just a little bit of bling to the piece, if you will. Now, you wouldn't have to use gold beads. You could use other colors as well. That concludes this part of Lesson 3. However, I've got a little reminder for you. Those of you who send me nice pictures or upload your pictures so I can look at them will have a chance to get one of my ribbon flower DVDs. So I encourage all of you to get your needles out and really sew these things now. I want to see some postcards, okay? I want you to mail me one. Thank you so much. Okay, a little incentive, ladies. Happy sewing, and our next lesson will be number 4. And what we'll be doing on number 4 is putting on our ribbon flowers and extra little doodads. And then I've got a little show and tell for you.